Hello, this is our tutorial or talk, my lecture on typography. Typography is something that a lot of people don't understand or think about when they're doing stuff like page layout or designs for their stuff. Um, so I want to go through some typography, some simple stuff, and talk about what typography is. Right off the bat, let's take a look at some examples. Here we have the FedEx logo. Many people have seen this FedEx logo, but has anybody seen what the hidden design is in this FedEx logo? A lot of people don't understand, but when you're using text to create things, this is a great example of, look at the arrow inside the E and the X. I think this is spectacular use of design. FedEx, gets things moving, delivered. What a great little example. Take a look at some of these. If you can take a look and see what's going on here. What logos are what? These are all very recognizable, very established logos. If you take a look and see what's happening here, you can see half of them. Most of them are pretty obvious that people understand who's who and what's what, and some of it's not just typography. Some of it here is design, but it all lends itself to what we're talking about. So take a look if you see any of these, and you get to see that all the logos are there. Okay. Some of these logos, like the NASA logo, my typography teacher at RIT, Hans Klinkoff, he was one of the designers to create that logo. And then IBM, that's Paul Rand. CBS is, I can't think of it at the moment, but I know who it is. But there's lots of different stuff going on here. Some great logos, some very established logos. But what is typography? Let's take a look at the basics of typography. Typography is just working with type. We have an X height here, so the letter size of your letter, the size of your letter, leading, the space between the baselines of your text, so that you can open up the leading. Opening up leading makes things a little easier to read. Sometimes making it tighter makes it easier to read, depending on what you're working on. Kerning is the space between letters, and we'll work with that a lot in design. All of this stuff is very easy to do in InDesign and to work with. You have ascenders, which are the upper parts of the letters that go up into the sky, and the descenders, like G's, Y's, Q's, that come down below. We're going to learn about point size, how to kern better between letters that need kerning and stuff like that. I love typography. It's great stuff. So kerning, we're going to take a look at letters like K's, where we have a big gap in the middle, and then we have the E, and then we have W's and E's, L's and Y's. Tracking, how to decrease the tracking or increase the tracking. So you notice how small the word tracking is when the kerning is nice and tight, but how far apart and open it is when it's open. Picking a font for the occasion. Okay, there's so many fonts out there, and I'm one of those people that's, oh great, there's DaFont, there's a couple other places you can get some really cool free fonts, but really you should stick to just a few fonts, like 7 to 9 fonts that you use all the time. Here, take a look. I Love You. That's a nice, clean, wonderful Helvetica ultralight font. I really like that. Helvetica is a font family that is awesome. It goes from the very, very thin ultralight all the way up to Helvetica Black. And the black is nice and thick, and it really makes a statement. I hate you. Okay? Grouping of fonts. We only need to keep track of like 5 groups. Okay, you have geometric, humanistic, humanist, old style, transitional, modern, and slab serif. And you can see the differences here. You have the nice clean font here, geometric, which is really nice and round and clean, humanistic, which is like your Helveticas, old style, where the font looks a little bit, offset, transitional, which is a basic serif font, modern, which is the thick and thins with the small serifs, and then slab serifs, where you have serifs, but they look just like an extension of the actual letter. So take a look at here. We have the font like Futura. That's a geometric sans serif font. Myriad Pro, which I love, and comes with Adobe products, so we'll have it with InDesign. And old style is Bembo. Baskerville, transitional, Bodoni. I love Bodoni. Fantastic font. Does so many things, and it's modern. ITC Aficionada Serif, slab serif. Nice font. Take a look at the things that are going on here. Leading. We can do things with leading and open things up here and there, and then use other typefaces and other things that are going on to create some design or ideas or make words stand out. We can make things into designs by changing lettering. Hard to read, but it gives you the look and appearance of something different. Some fonts. These are font families. Okay, font families are fonts that have lots of different things. Like I talked about earlier in Helvetica, we have the nice thin font all the way up to the heavy font. Garamond. Garamond is a wonderful font. It's a great font. That's actually Security Mutual's corporate font. And you have lots of different things with Garamond. You have Garamond regular, semi-bold, bold. Bauhaus, which is a very different font, has light, medium, demi, bold, heavy. And then Baskerville, modern, Bodoni, monospace, Courier, so everything's very different. Then you have crazy display types, Scriptina and Wake Bake. Some of the fonts like that, those crazy fonts are only good in certain instances and in small amounts. Learning about how to use upper and lowercase, all caps, small caps, and then also knocked out into the background, so white on black, black on white, stuff like that. Patterns and alignment. Okay, just like I showed earlier in an earlier example, this is a great way to give yourself some design or make certain words stand out. Use the type as a design element. Create it in a lighter look, smaller text, and you can get different results every time. And it's fun. It is so much fun. Take a look at this. Align, normal, everything's different, the same except for one spot, and all we did was just change the direction of the alignment of the baseline of the text. To give you some more examples, type can be used just like design elements. If you're going to create a look and feel with some dots, you can do the same thing with text. We can change the alignment. If it's going to be aligned left, align right, how we space our text, how we put when we put returns in. It's very simple, but it works very, very effectively. No one ever says, oh, text must be aligned, exactly horizontal. That's a load of crap. You can do whatever you want with your text. This is your project. You're the designer. You can do anything you want, and you just push it around and do all kinds of stuff with it and do some very interesting things with just simple little pieces. Another example of how alignment, leading, large, small. This is a favorite thing of mine to do, to mix sizes, not sizes of fonts, but weights of fonts. Getting together for the holidays. Just a real simple but a very nice and effective way to do stuff with text. Small, large, fat, thin. How to make things look like they're shouting or talking. Get your text to do things. I like this a lot. This is adding, using text to create a look and feel, but then one small graphic element to tie it all together. Get it? Tie it all together. Little pun there. I hope you got that. Talk about white space. You don't always have to fill the page with everything. You can use white space to your advantage. It's great. Don't have to use text on every piece of the puzzle. Positive, negative, contrast. These are great things. Again, I love stuff like this. I like to mix fonts. I like to put a big fancy capital letter and then a nice clean font afterwards. The heavy and lightweight, that's always a good one. It gets the point across and it really makes a statement. Again, negative space, white space. Use space to be part of the design. Text can be done so many different ways. Negative space. Look at how that draws your attention to this is negative space. That's fantastic. Just use your imagination. Have fun with it. Things that we need to learn about typography, very basic things. There's going to be a first read, a second read, and a third read. Headlines, subheads, body copy. This is a great way to draw attention, to get you to work. Has anybody looked at any magazine lately? Usually there's a nice big headline or a big cap. A magazine, it's going to sound funny, I know, but it's a magazine that is a fantastic magazine, has extremely good layout, is the O magazine, Oprah's magazine. Their design staff does a fantastic job. But does the first, second, and third read have to be in order of top to bottom? No. It can be all kinds of ways and performed, but it's always going to be the same. First, second, and third read. It's just fun. As we know from working with InDesign, you can do so many cool things with InDesign, with objects and text inside the objects. It's just really nice stuff. Does text have, I showed earlier some examples of some text not on horizontal, a little bit of crooked text, but we can also put text on a path. And text on a path gives you so many options and so many things that you can do to create looks and feels and tell a story with just the type. Again, the font families, different things that are going on. Bold, modern, elegant, friendly, edgy. How many people go to Friendly's restaurant? Notice the font looks a lot like that. Some things that were done that have really stood the test of time. I Love New York. Done in the early 80s, and still today, people are using this all over the place. I heart New York, I heart this, whatever. Just simple, 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 just text and one simple graphic. Here's a portrait made out of text. This ad has won so many awards when it first came out, and it's so effective. Think small. It just says exactly what it is. Take a look at the first read, the second read, and the third read. It's basic stuff. Herb Lublin, he is a fantastic designer, fantastic typographer, done many, many great things, and these are just some examples of his work. these were great. He won many awards with stuff like this. Mother and child, families, marriage. Think about it. Look at the R's. Marriage. Just simple things, but easy to do. Lublin Graph. He designed this font. So 26 good reasons to use Lublin Graph Book. You know, this is just good stuff to be thinking about and looking at when you're working on some of your pieces and your projects. And Saul Bass did some great posters, big movie posters and Broadway play posters. Lots of logos: the United Way, Minolta, Girl Scouts, Quaker, Dixie. Another cover. Bell. Warner Communications, which is now Time Warner. AT&T. Paula Scher. Paula Scher, as a designer in today's day and age and era, she is really well known for especially her typography. She works for a big firm in Manhattan. Paul Rand, one of my favorite graphic designers, huge logo guy. He has done so many things. I had to write a paper on Paul Rand in college, and I really studied the man. My one graphic design teacher at corporate ID teacher at RIT actually worked for him for a while, and said he was a real stinker, but funny. More good typography. Substituting a letter with a graphic. Being creative with your text. So I hope this gives you a better idea about what you can do with typography, what you can do with text. It is so much fun. It's just a wonderful way to do things. I hope this inspired you a little bit. If you have any questions on typography or would like to learn more about it, I'm going to put up some links to some different things on typography. And hopefully you enjoyed it and got something out of it. And I'd like to see you use some of this in your next coming projects. It's just fun. All right? Thanks.